So I have my paragraphs that you see, right?
Yes.
And then based on the lectures, and of course I'm down now 2 lectures. So and then
right.
what I do, my drawings, is then I create these storyboards. So theory. So like if you go to theory, it says talking about like this one is a picture of 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has to connect with more than a good theory has to connect with more than one scenario, not just like one more. So rain falls on a flower, the flower grows. And you know that because it's repeated all the time, right?
Yes.
So not just one flower, but like thousands of flowers. So you know that that's a true statement based on that. And so then a person questions, is that really true? And then he's like, oh yes, that's true. And so like then he gains the knowledge based on the questioning, based on like the experiment. And so that's what it's talking about here, where or here somewhere, where like the basics of a theory, a good theory, is that it's able to be shown on multiple steps, multiple levels, not just like one scenario. So if it's one, so not just one war. If you want to understand why war happens, then you have to look at multiple wars.
Okay, so and that's
does that
how
make sense?
That does, but I just want to make sure that's how you understand a theory.
Yeah, that's how you understand a theory.
Okay, perfect. So you like.
I don't know if it's any of that basic on the test, but.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So the pictures.
Wait, hold on, real quick. I was wondering,
Yeah.
should we go in order?
Yeah, you can go in order. So dependency. So that's this theory.
I think the first one, right?
Yeah. So.
Here, I want to write some quick notes.
And you can follow my pictures too.
Okay, sure.
But so that's the basis. So hopefully when I get to the test, and it's like, okay, now I see the picture.
Yes.
And then what I was going to do is actually then take the pictures and put them back in paragraph form just to see if I can remember how to write.
Okay. And so what does theory do is where dependent and explanatory comes from?
Yeah, so dependent, what deals with the cause. So here I have a ship, and the ship sinks, right? And here I have the explanatory understanding. Well, global warming created, or creating all these storms, and so the ship sank because of global warming. I mean, that was and here he uses, what caused World War II. Hitler was the cause. And the explanation is Hitler wanted to imperialize the world, So there's like the dependence, you could say it's like this, I would think of it as the short answer.
Okay.
One word or just a couple words of the answer, right? And then the explanatory is the understanding of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, one
Okay,
more
go
time.
ahead.
So dependent would be, I think of it like cause.
Right,
Okay, like
cause.
So, and this can be anything, right? It doesn't have to be a person, but it could be like an event that happened.
Right.
Anything.
Probably international relations, we're talking about events mostly.
Okay. And then the explanatory part is the understanding of it, the understanding of why it happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
and I stress so easily too.
Oh yeah, I know. Okay, so we'll do this because I ran out of pages. So.
Okay, so that's the theory, right?
Yeah, theory.
Okay.
What is theory? So that's that one. It's a little bad word from this, but so do you understand?
Yes. So thinking theoretically. Okay. So if I were to say the way someone thinks theoretically is when they look at I don't want to say thing. When they look at
a scenario.
Yeah, when they look at a scenario through different events, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, through different events, not just based off of one event, but several events.
Right. Okay. And they come to the same conclusion.
Yes.
And that would go with their hypothesis.
Okay.
So they'd make the hypothesis, and then the theory. Well, is my hypothesis right or not? That's where like the questions here come from. Well, am I right that water and sun makes flowers grow? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then understanding is gained.
Right. So what makes something a theory is if you have a bunch of different scenarios and they all conclude to the same ending,
Yeah.
then it's a theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or a good theory. A bad theory is where you just take one of those scenarios and say, oh, well, just based on this one thing that makes my conclusion correct. And it's like, no, you have to base it on more than one factor.
Okay.
More than one factor.
Oh, so like a theory, maybe one theory could be that like communism is not a good form of government because different scenarios would be like it didn't work in the USSR,
Right.
and it's not working in Venezuela, even though they're not. I know they're not titled communist, but his ways are very communist-like.
Right.
And like we could say like, oh, it didn't work in this country, it didn't work in that country, and that's a theory, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Balance of power.
Okay. Balance of power.
Okay. Balance of power. So there's two types of balance of power. So here's the drawing. Pretty. Okay. So maybe I should take pictures and put them up.
Maybe.
So there's two ways that countries balance power. One is, so you have a country or state that grows in size in terms of military and all that, and then two countries will come together and declare war on them to downgrade their military power. Like, does that make sense? So then it shrinks to shrink them down.
Oh, okay.
That's one way. And then the second way is like what happened with the Cold War, where, the U.S. has more bombs and then Russia has more bombs, and so they try and equal out the military power that they have.
Okay.
So that each one knows that, oh, well, if you conquer me, I have just as many bombs as you do, or I have just as many weaponry as you do, so don't try it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so...
Does that make sense?
Okay, so balance of powers. So one way to do it, and by balance of powers, it's like, you mean like having a balance of powers with every nation having a balance of powers?
Yeah, so that one doesn't grow too much.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like, if the U.S., if this is the U.S., like the bigger country, and like let's say we have a military of like 100 people, then, and this country only has a military of 50 people, then they should get 50 more and become a military of 100 people also?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? And here it shows that they're conquering a country to make it shrink. Do you see how? So if there's, let's say, countries around it, let's say so there's, I don't know, like France and Germany, right? And they see that a country around them is growing too big. Then Germany and France might come together and unite and say, we have to conquer this country and shrink their military down.
Oh, okay.
So they don't get too powerful, too overwhelming, and then they'll just take over us too. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. The only thing is then I don't really see it as a balance. I see it as like keep conquering.
Yeah, is that other countries need to keep each other in check. If one country gets too big, then they should be attacked to bring down their power to keep stability.
Okay.
So, and that came from Bismarck.
Okay.
So that's his theory. So.
Okay. I see that one.
Okay.
I understand that one.
Okay.
And then the other one, right?
And the other one is the Cold War scenario.
And that's basically what happened with the Cold War, right? It was like so the U.S. was scared that the Russians were going to attack them at any minute because they thought maybe like they were becoming too powerful,
right,
and they had too many like weapons. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So they're balancing out their power by creating more powerful military on either side.
Okay.
And then here I have, this might become important, how World War II started, where Germany did the same thing, where because of the Treaty of Versailles, Germany was punished harshly, right? So then Hitler came into power, and then they hated everybody. And so what Hitler did is he built up the economy through building up the military, but all these other countries here that are sleeping were They're too tired. So they didn't do that.
Okay.
So then when Germany had this power, and they're hoping, these other countries were hoping, oh, well, hopefully he's not going to fight because we're completely exhausted, but then he did, because he was pissed, and all the Germans were pissed at him for treating Versailles, making them pay for World War I.
And not to mention, people thought, I don't know which country did it, but one country granted him, I don't know if it was, it was the country in Eastern Europe. They granted him that country, and they thought, okay, maybe after that he'll stop, but he didn't. He just kept invading.
Czechoslovakia.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
And so then there was that, and I think obviously since Hitler saw that these countries were like vulnerable, he decided to invade them.
Right, yeah, especially since those are the countries that had just fought World War I and were punishing Germany through
Right.
Treaty of Remember, and then they had to pay like $40 billion, and it collapsed their economy and all that. So
Okay, got it.
a lot of anger there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, then the 3 ways to balance. So the one we talked about, obviously, or the 2 we talked about, obviously, where you build up your military forces. If one country getting too big, then 2 countries coming along and attacking to shrink it down, and then trade to keep peace.
Okay.
Because if you're doing trade between countries, you don't want conflict, or else you're going to hurt your economy by creating conflict with another country.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, because like
If we were to fight with China and say we're going to declare a war on China. Well, if we declared war on China, but yet we're importing a bunch of Chinese stuff, goods, or Japan or something, I mean, that would be dumb.
Yeah.
Because we're so dependent.
Yeah.
We're so dependent on the trade. So to keep peace with those countries.
It's important.
It's important, yeah. It becomes even more important. And what did he say? He put it, 3 theories. It would, like, those are theories. Free trade is a way to industrialize international cooperation. Yeah, so cooperation, so that
So in this case, globalization can be good.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of trading.
Yeah, in terms of trading, then okay.
Yeah, here it is. Economically, it could be too costly to both countries. So too costly in terms of
Too costly to
right.
get into a conflict,
Right.
right? Okay.
Because then their trading would be,
Like
or if another country was, let's say, really dependent on oil,
Mhm.
and then they went to war on that country, to the United States, like Japan did.
Oh well, that's kind of what we were talking about with the briefing on Venezuela. So like, if we decide to take military over Venezuela to try and fix the conflict, obviously we would stop receiving oil from them, which we highly depend on, and so that would mess up the economy here and the people here.
Right, and Venezuela depends 90% on oil, so it might even destroy their country even more.
Yes,
so the
it's
fact
more violence.
that Venezuela's, the president's doing what he does, but yeah, they're so dependent on selling oil to probably all these countries, could really damage their economy. So actually keeping peace would be more economically productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Very good.
All right, perfect.
Okay, realism.
Okay, yes, I really
These
did
are,
go over
yeah. Yeah, me and you both. Okay, because these like all get squashed into the I don't know, different concepts. Because there's 4 main ones. There's there's these 4.
realism, liberalism,
Mhm.
constructivism, and radicalism, which is the Marxism one, right? Like slash. Isn't that? Oh no. Wait, is Marx? Yeah, isn't that right? Radicalism is also known as Marxism.
I have it in here somewhere. Yeah. It's somewhere.
Everything out of order right now, unfortunately.
It's alright. It's in order, because I have Marx in here somewhere. I wrote his name down in here. We have Montague, Walt. I think you're right. So it had to do with money. I believe.
Because I know that I don't know if he really established it, but I know that he was one of like the pioneers in introducing the idea of that if capitalism, if it gets out of control, which it has and which it is, it means that the people who are rich and who are big and have power will always remain there, and the people who are poor and without power are always going to remain there, and it's never going to work.
Right.
It's never going to be a fair system for everyone.
Right.
Radicalism or Marxism. I had to write that down for a reason. Oh, well, look, I have some notes.
See?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, though. Realism.
Okay. It's okay. Okay, so realism.
Okay.
So.
What did I say? I said realism, sorry, just real quick. Like, when we first just kind of talked about it a little bit, I wrote realism as every state has its own self-interest. And that's all I have. But you have a picture. So.
I have a picture. I have a human nature picture.
Okay.
So, security dilemma. So there's two things here. So one is, so you have there's a knife stabbing the guy in the back. So realism is human nature is not good. You can't trust the people. You can't trust the countries. They're
the other countries, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Pimples on him. They're flawed. Seriously, I think, how am I going to put this into a picture? How am I going to put flaws, like pimples?
Thanks.
Something.
That's true, I know. It's the biggest flaw I have in myself. But whatever, anyway.
Mostly we're talking about inner flaws, but I don't know how to,
Yeah,
I don't know how to, it's something I have to remember or memorize. And so,
okay.
stabbing you in the back, and
So he's being stabbed in the back because he has flaws?
It's because human nature, people stab each other in the back. So you could think you could trust someone, and then that country stabs you in the back. Or they do something because they're self-interested. It's all about countries and people being self-interested, especially in government.
Okay, so can't trust the people, don't trust the other countries.
Right, and they build up their weaponry. So once again, they're building up their weaponry to make sure that they have just as much as the next guy, because they don't trust the next guy, so make sure you're strong. And then for smaller alliances, the external way is to create an alliance with, so the smaller countries come together to build an alliance.
Smaller. So if you are a smaller country, make sure to get a lot of allies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the United States is one thing, but we're really big, right?
Yeah.
But Britain and maybe France and all that, they're these smaller countries are all just smaller countries. So which makes sense to come together and kind of try and group together. That's the internal and external.
Got it.
Security.
Just in case I want to be prepared.
Always be prepared. And then I have the word security dilemma. I know it's in the book about it because I read about it, but I can't remember how it's. I think security dilemma has to do with that, looking out for yourself. Oh no, security dilemma, because I think I have it somewhere else where it's about is that if you build up your military and then that scares another country that feels like they have to build up their military. They have a good example in the book. And so then we keep building up our militaries more powerful. And but it becomes a security dilemma because then it's just now we have so much power we can literally obliterate the other country. Wipe it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it becomes that scary conflict, which was the Cold War, I think, scenario again. Well, now we have all this stuff.
Right.
So, but security dilemma is definitely in there somewhere. Security dilemma here. Power hungry. If you turn your back, you will be stabbed. Self-interested, not to be trusted. Don't trust anyone. Makes other states insecure. I think that's the big one right there. State that tries to maximize its power in order to be secure makes other states insecure.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's
so
realism also? Okay.
Yeah, so China is making, because they're building up the military, is making all the other countries around it afraid. Well, what's China going to do? Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
So then they feel like they have to build up their military, especially like nuclear weapons. Well, now I need nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And I remember actually Liz Fallon talking about that in his comparative government class. So that's security dilemma.
And this is all pretty much because when you say flawed human nature, it's because really, like, in reality, humans are flawed, and sometimes, you know, we stab each other in the back, and it just happens.
It's like greed, you know, like self-interested, or if you do something for me, I'll do something for you, but you have to do something for me first. And maybe that's not something, maybe it is evil. Maybe it is something evil you have to do, you know?
Yeah.
Or things like that. So they're all about, you can't trust humanity.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So they're the pessimisms of the optimism liberals.
Okay. Don't trust anyone.
Don't trust anyone. Look out for yourself.
Look out for yourself. Yes. Which is what essentially all
States can only be left for themselves. Yeah.
Look out only for your country.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Okay, so containment doctrines, which is a little out of order because I didn't really understand it. I had to write him and say, does my paragraph make sense?
Oh, wait, real quick before. Do you think he's gonna mention all 4 of them on the quiz?
Yeah. He's definitely gonna mention all 4 of them on the quiz. He's got to, because that's the most important thing about the quiz is understanding.
Should we talk about the other 3 just in case?
Sure. The containment doctrine is still important, but we can go back to that because it's in the realism part.
Oh, is it in the realism part?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's like so many different parts to even one of these. That's what I noticed.
Look.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it starts. So here's realism, and then it goes from that.
Yeah.
To all these bold words, and then neo-realism.
The neo-realisms. There's like
finally
different parts. Yeah, because I was thinking that too. Well, what's the simplistic way? Like there's no simplistic way.
Okay. Sorry. So you're going in order.
So I'm going in order. I know it's a lot. That's why this whole book was filled with pictures. I didn't even expect it to be. So the containment doctrine. So this is my Cold War picture. This is like Black War with snowflakes. And so my understanding of it, and I can give you his paragraph on it too. My understanding on it was so Russia after World War II did not leave these other countries, right? So they didn't invade, but they kind of took over these countries during World War II. Yeah, it was World War II, and then what they started doing is trying to overthrow. So this is my government symbol. So they're trying to overthrow smaller country governments, try and grow communism, right? And then the United States says, oh, let's not do that. They're still growing their military here.
Right.
But let's not do that. Let's give these smaller countries money so that they don't overthrow, because they're trying to turn the world into a democracy, while Russia is hoping to do the opposite with communism. But if we help stabilize and give these smaller countries money, then hopefully they won't, start toppling their government and turn communist. So the containment doctrine is has to do with giving these smaller countries money so that Russia stops helping. Does that make sense?
It does. It just
To
like
a
the one
certain
thing I don't understand is like it's kind of weird. Like
best defense is defense.
I see why Russia would want to take over these countries so that the more land it gets, the more powerful the country is.
It's like that satellite. Remember having satellites?
Yeah, the satellites and those.
So they didn't want to back out from those countries.
Oh, I see. Because the reason I thought that Russia had the satellite countries or the satellites in those countries is to be protected from that side, so that nobody from Europe from that side can attack them. It's like putting up like some kind of wall of safety.
That's a good way of defining it.
But U.S. gives these smaller countries money, I don't really see how that can stop Russia from still just taking over.
Well, because Russia's trying to topple the government, so these would start a revolution, and then Russia would help them with the revolution to topple their governments. And probably toppling their governments because they're having a lot of problems and issues. All has to do with economics usually. So if the United States gives them money to help stabilize the economy and help stabilize the country, then there's no reason to topple the government.
Okay.
So the best defense is defense. So instead of causing wars, they're giving income. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So my paragraph says the containment doctrine happened during the Cold War and was created by George Kennan, a U.S. policy that was wondering what to do with Russia and their reluctance to leave territories after World War II. The policy called for patience while making sure that our weaponry was equal to theirs with Russia, right? So that's that. The Cold War was played out in small countries, but the USSR helping local countries to overthrow their governments. The United States, to help from this happening and stop the spread of communism, said the U.S. should give these countries money to keep them stable. Giving countries money goes with the best defense is defense thought.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. If I don't make sense, let me know. If my pictures don't make sense.
I love the pictures. They're helping so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I even told my mom, I'm like, yesterday I'm like, Mom, I don't know what I would do without my pictures. Like, I could not implant into my brain all this information without my pictures. I don't know.
Visuals help so
visuals,
much.
yeah, so.